think the Rookie of the Year race this year, fellas, is fascinating, not only in terms of who do you think should win, but really who the top three are going to be in terms of the leading vote getters. And really, obviously, there's some philosophies involved. Should Artemi Panarin, how do you weight his rookie season, being a 24-year-old guy who's played in the KHL? Of course, other guys have played in the AHL. That's a professional hockey league as well. But it's going to be interesting. I would think it'd be the favorite, Scott Burnside. And then even as I look at my top three recently, I think Shane Gostisbehere now deserves to be in that top three, being a defenseman and the impact he's had on his team directly. We know McDavid is probably the best player, but you can't penalize him for games missed. His points per game is off the charts. Jack Eichel's played the whole season. You have to give that in consideration because guys are more tired. They're playing more. Maybe their point per game number isn't as strong because of that. What's your philosophy? The writers, of course, vote for the Rookie of the Year. What's your philosophy as you look and rate the class?
Bucci, I think you're right on. This might be among the most difficult years for rookie voters. And of course, Joey Mack and I are among that group, given the various elements that are coming into play. And you mentioned some of them. Connor McDavid is, I think, probably without any doubt, the best rookie player in the NHL this year, but missed a significant amount of time with the shoulder injury. And the award goes to the player who had the best rookie season. And for me, that means you have to play the whole season to really be considered in that final three in terms of the finalists for the Rookie of the Year. You mentioned Shane Gostisbehere, fine rookie defenseman for the Philadelphia Flyers, really keeping them in the playoff hunt. You might even consider him among your Hart Trophy candidates if the Flyers do and make the playoffs. But for me, I go back to Panarin. Tremendous season for him. He leads all rookie scorers by 14 points. Jack Eichel is number 2. Panarin's 14 points ahead of them. That's a country mile. Yes, he's 24 years old, so he's a little bit older. Yes, he did play in the Continental Hockey League. I know people make the argument, well, listen, he's playing with Patrick Kane. Anyone could do that. Not so. Joel Quenneville does not hand out spots on the NHL's top scoring line just because he feels a tremendous sense of largesse. Panarin's played there all year because he's deserved it. And for me, he is the Rookie of the Year. And the guy I will tell you about that I still think factors in, I don't know where he fits in, what about John Gibson in Anaheim? Might very well have saved the Anaheim Ducks season this year with his strong play when that team was floundering. Couldn't score. Gibson came up from the American Hockey League and really righted the ship there. Of goaltenders who played 30 or more games, he ranks number 2 with a 2.07 goals against average. He's battling now for playing time with Frederik Andersen. Both those guys are off the charts hot. So I don't know where John Gibson factors in, but a lot of interesting elements for voters as we get ready to cast our ballots in less than a month.
Yeah, and let's talk to Joe now. And if those who say Artemi Panarin's numbers are because of Patrick Kane, well, obviously, but Patrick Kane's numbers are also up because of Artemi Panarin. If you think that he's just riding his coattails, you just haven't been watching the Blackhawks play. This guy's skating, and the amount of wood he gets on one-timers that passes from Kane and others, amazing hand-eye, great sense for the game, find dead areas, heavy shot, great skater. Joe, this guy's the real deal.
Pucci, without a doubt, he's the real deal. He's been so much fun to watch. And when you look at this entire rookie class, hockey fans have been pretty spoiled this season to go up and down that list and just to see the rookies that have had an impact on their teams this season. I like to agree with Scotty quite often, but in this case, I do look at the fact that he's 24 years old. I do look at the fact that he played in the KHL. And I do look at the fact that he's playing with Patrick Kane for the entire season. Meanwhile, if you look at a guy like Jack Eichel, and I'm not just saying this because he's a Boston kid, you look at Jack Eichel and the impact that he's had in Buffalo this season as a 19-year-old kid. A year ago, he was playing collegiately at Boston University, a Hobey Baker Award winner, and now he comes in to the Sabres and he makes an impact. The thing is, with the difference between him and Connor McDavid is that McDavid, yes, didn't miss half the season. His points per game is outstanding, but McDavid didn't have the ebbs and flows that Jack Eichel has experienced this season. But I just think overall, if you look at the season that Eichel has had, he has to be in top consideration for the Calder Trophy this season.
I agree. He's got to be 2 or 3 for how he's really carried that team. He's been their best player most nights at his age. And I do believe if it's close, like you said, Joe, if it's a 24-year-old and a 19-year-old and it's nose-to-nose dead heat, I think the 18 or 19-year-old in this case should get extra consideration. That should matter. And either way, we're blessed to have this great talent in the NHL.